I wanted to take you through an unboxing as well as installation and review of the Waterdrop under sink water filtration system. The reason why I'm using this is because we have well water at this house, and our well water is kind of smelly. It smells a little bit sulfury. I thought about going with the reverse osmosis system. It's significantly more expensive. It takes up more space. It needs to get flushed regularly. It has more filters. This one I think was $59 on Amazon. I've got high hopes that this is going to take out some of that sulfury flavor, and it's going to make our water taste a lot better. One thing I should mention is you need to have a sediment filter before your water gets to this. So at another part in our house, we do have a sediment filter. It takes out all the sediment. Once it gets to that point, then we can filter it with this. If you don't have a sediment filter, this is going to get clogged significantly faster. The part number on this is WD15UA. Let's go ahead and start installing this thing. One of the first things that we're going to have to do, something I'm not looking forward to, is we're going to have to empty all this stuff out of the cabinet so I can get back in there. All right, here we go. All right, I did not take everything out of the sink, but I took a lot of stuff out of the sink. I should tell you that this actually connects to the cold water, and that means when you turn on cold water, you'll get water that's filtered. If you turn on hot water, it will not be filtered. For the most part, we want to use the filtered water for drinking. Sometimes for cleaning, but mostly for drinking. So it's going to go on the cold water. By the way, the instructions say this is for cold water applications only. So one of the first things I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn off the cold water right here. This is a quarter turn valve. Sometimes you have to turn several times to turn off the water. And then I'm going to undo this nut right up here. Essentially, the cold water is going to go from here to the filter, from the filter, then back to this hard line right up here. Sometimes many other sinks have braided steel. Mine's got a plastic line right here. Both should work just fine. All right, so it's kind of tall. Let's see here. So here's the filter. It is kind of tall. One of the things I need to do is I need to find a place to mount this in the back of the sink. I get this little handy dandy sticker that you put up on the wall so you know right where to drill. One thing to keep in mind is that this should be at least 2 inches off the ground. So I'm gonna have to mount it up a little bit off the ground. Other things to keep in mind, there's electricity back here. The electricity probably goes to a stud and then up. I don't know if it comes over here or over here. My guess is a little bit to the right, so I gotta be careful of that. Also, I have a drain line over here. The drain line, water can never drain up, so it always drains down. Sometimes it goes back and down. Sometimes it goes to the side and down. But I got to make sure I'm not drilling down. This thing is so tall, that's not going to be a problem. My only concern is electricity. I've got some wood here that's going to make it a little bit easier to drill into. I think I'll drill in right back there. Where's my sticker? We'll put a sticker up there and we'll drill right where the sticker tells us to. All right, I've got my little sticker right where I want. It's going to keep the filter at least 2 inches off the ground there. I've got some hardwood. I'm not concerned about drilling into electricity. At that point, and your kit should come with 2 little screws like this. Take your drill them right where you're supposed to in the large white circles, and then leave about 1/4 to 1/2 an inch sticking out. It's okay to estimate that. And then we'll hang our filter right in place. All right, check it out. So far, so good. Put in the screws, hung up the filter right where it's supposed to. I think it's a little crooked, but I don't think it's really gonna matter much. All right, what's next? Well, we gotta connect the inlet hose and the outlet hose. Notice one side says in, one side says out. You just push these things in here. The instructions say that about 1/8 of an inch of this will still be sticking out. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap in here, but to my knowledge, all we do is just push it in and it should seal on its own. So I'm going to need 2 hands for that, but pretty self-explanatory. Just push it in. All right, that may have taken about 10 seconds. Piece of cake. Now what I need to do is I need to connect this to this. Actually, the other way around. This gets connected to that. If you haven't already, shut this thing off right here, shut that off, and then you're going to need a wrench to disconnect this line right here. So shut that one off all the way, turn it to the right, clockwise, and then use your wrench to disconnect that. One thing to keep in mind is that when you're connecting these hoses, make sure that this one, which is the male hose, is the outlet, and the female hose is the inlet. So you need to make sure you got those things, because this needs to connect to that part right here, and this part, the male part, needs to connect to that part right here. So I'm going to start with the outlet side. This is in my thumb right here, the outlet side that comes from the filter. This is the inlet in my fingers here that go up to the faucet. I'm going to connect these two things here. I don't think necessarily thread tape is necessary here. The instructions say if you have a leak, undo it and put thread tape on there. This is a compression fitting. I don't think thread tape is completely necessary. When you tighten it, you don't need to be He-Man here. Just tighten it until it's pretty tight. All right, so I've got the outlet connected, outlet line right here. It's kind of squirrely, but this one goes up to the sink. I'm not sure what to do to fix that. I suppose I could tuck it behind the filter to make it a little bit less crazy, but it's okay. It's behind the cabinet. No one's going to see it. And then right here, this thing, you're going to want to go ahead and put that right up here. So go ahead and screw that down, and then you're turning on the water, and then you're just about done. All right, at this point, everything is connected. My outlet is connected right here to my faucet. My inlet goes up and then comes right over here and is connected right here. Again, you don't have to be crazy when you tighten it down. Just tighten it down hand tight. Well, hand tight with a small wrench. And then one of the things I do is I like to put paper towels down here, because sometimes you don't always know what leaks are happening. So I'm going to leave this down here for about a day, and then I'll put all the stuff back in here when I know there's no leak. Go ahead and turn your water back on. Keep an eye out for leaks when you turn your water back on. Okay, got a few drips right here coming from the handle. Might have to work on that handle a little bit. Poop. Otherwise, no drips here, no drips there. All right, the next step is it says to flush your filter, you need to run cold water for 5 minutes. So, towards me is cold. Yeah, so it's a charcoal filter. It's a charcoal filter. It only makes sense. You're going to get some nastiness coming out there at the beginning. That's why you run it for the first 5 minutes. Let's set a timer for 5 minutes and let this thing run. All right, time for our final test. Here I've got water that just came out of this faucet, cold water, and this is cold water that came out of another faucet in our house. I'm going to go ahead and try the water that came out of another faucet first, and then we'll compare it. Still a little bit sulfury, not too bad. There's a difference. There's a difference. I'm going to have to try this over long term, but there is a difference. This one tastes different than that one. That one tastes like well water. It's hard to describe, but this one tastes cleaner, fresher. Has no smell. This one has a faint smell. It's not that bad, but I want better. So, yeah, I like the one that came out of this faucet better. Time will tell, and maybe I'll give you an update. But so far, I think for 50, 60 bucks, this is a win. And it didn't take that long, maybe 20, 25 minutes to put in. Piece of cake, and now we got better water, and I didn't have to use a reverse osmosis system. I like it. All right, if you watched my video on how to install a Waterdrop water filter, which I like so far, when you saw that, you may have noticed that as we put this together and attach some things there, that we had some water drips. You can take a look and see there's a water drip at the very bottom. I want to show you how to fix that. I'm just going to turn the packing nut. The packing nut is the one right here I got my finger on, and all you got to do is turn that one probably to the right, about a quarter turn, and that should solve my leak. So let's give it a try. All right, all I did here was I took some channel locks that kind of act like a wrench. You could use an adjustable wrench. Whoop, there you go, you can't see it. And all I did was grab this, turn it to the right. All right, so I pushed down on this and I did about a quarter turn. And take a look. The drip is no longer dripping. So I should be good there. Just for some insurance, I'm gonna put some new paper towels down here and I'm gonna double check and see if we got any more drips coming. Anyway, that's pretty simple.